Government is now extending that period for 1 more year. A computer hacker has been jailed for 9 months for attacking the Hong Kong Stock Exchange website last year and forcing 7 firms to suspend trading. Arthur Akila reports.
Tse Man Lai was driven to the district court in a correctional services van this morning for sentencing. He had been found guilty 2 weeks ago on 2 charges of accessing computers with dishonest or criminal intent. Tse, who owns an information technology company, hacked into the website of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange on 2 consecutive days in August last year. The attack on the only official platform for company announcements forced 7 firms, including HSBC and Cathay Pacific, to suspend trading of their shares. 28-year-old Tse had earlier said he was trying out hacking software and wasn't aware that he was online. But the court dismissed his claim, saying Tse was an expert and had carried out the attack to promote his company. In handing down sentence, Deputy District Court Judge Peter Longley said the hacking had caused panic at the exchange. But Longley took into account Tse's age and his clean record. The judge also noted Tse's contribution to society. As a member of the Auxiliary Medical Services, he helped Amoy Garden residents at the height of the SARS crisis in 2003. But the judge said a custodial sentence was necessary because of the seriousness of the crime, and he jailed Tse for 9 months. The Commercial Crime Bureau welcomed the sentence, saying although the attack didn't have a big impact, it wasted the website resources by taking up about half its bandwidth. Arthur Akila, ATV News.
China has ruled out letting foreign observers into Tibet to monitor any human rights abuses in the troubled Himalayan region. On the sidelines of the party congress in Beijing, Chiangba Punsok, chairman of Tibet's regional assembly, said it would be inappropriate to allow arrogant investigators into the region. This comes after exiled Tibetan leaders claimed that thousands of Tibetan students took to the streets in eastern Qinghai province today after a youth burned himself to death in a protest against Chinese rule. Reports say 7 Tibetans have set fire to themselves in the past 6 days. Mainland inflation has unexpectedly dipped further to its lowest in nearly 3 years as increases in food prices slowed. That gives policymakers more room to implement new stimulus measures if needed to boost growth in the world's second largest economy. Anne Resit reports.
Figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics today show that the cost of living on the mainland fell to its lowest since January 2010. Last month, consumers paid 1.7% more for goods than they did a year ago. That's down from the 1.9% increase in September and the 2% rise in August. The unexpected dip in inflation to its lowest in 33 months was mainly because food costs eased. Food prices increased by 1.8% in October, compared with September's 2.5% rise. Household finances are especially susceptible to fluctuations in food prices because many poor families spend a large percentage of their income on food. Today's numbers confirm that inflation is not the central government's main concern now and gives room for policymakers to cut interest rates again or implement new stimulus measures to speed up an economic recovery that appears to be taking shape. The figures may also offer some comfort to Communist Party leaders meeting in Beijing for a once-in-a-decade power transition, that the stimulus measures they implemented earlier this year have led to a recovery in domestic demand without triggering a rise in prices. In March, Premier Wen Jiabao promised to hold annual inflation to about 4% for the whole year, fearing that surging prices carry the potential to cause social unrest. The inflation rate has been below that target for 9 months. In other data out of Beijing today, industrial production, a key measure of output from the mainland's millions of factories and workshops, rose more than expected in October to 9.6% from 9.2% in the previous month. Retail sales, the main gauge of consumer spending, improved for the 3rd month to 14.5% from September's 14.2%. For the first 10 months of the year, fixed asset investment, a key measure of government spending on infrastructure, rose by a more than expected 20.7%. That's up from 20.5% in the January to September period. The Producer Price Index, which measures the cost of goods at the farm and factory gate, fell 2.8% in October. That eased from the previous month's 3.6% drop. Beijing has already implemented a number of policies over the past year to boost economic growth. It has cut interest rates twice since June and lowered the amount of money banks need to keep in reserve 3 times in the last few months to boost lending. Analysts expect those measures to remain in place after a new leadership is unveiled next week. Outgoing President Hu Jintao said in his speech to the party Congress yesterday that China would stick to policies fostering sustainable long-term economic development, with the aim of doubling gross domestic product and average household incomes over the next 10 years.
The weather forecast for the next few days: misty with light rain patches tomorrow, followed by sunny periods during the day. Temperatures will range from 24 to 28 degrees. Mainly cloudy with rain patches at first on Sunday and dry with sunny intervals next week. Here's a look at the weather around the world. I'll be back with finance news after the break. Stay with us.
Coming up, financial update. What happens out there is real. Get the latest European news and current affairs. Whatever happens, when it happens, you're always the first to know. Check in current news. European Journal, every Monday night at 8. What happens now could be prevented in the future. What was impossible yesterday might become possible tomorrow. Let's find out how science makes our world a better place. Tomorrow Today, Saturday night at 7. They can drive you nuts. From the most powerful roaring on Earth to the sexiest bodies you will ever see. They're surely every man's dream. Drive It, every Monday evening at 6:55.
He didn't choose to have his long battle with cancer. Like every child, he just wants to grow up healthy and happy. A child with cancer needs our support and encouragement. He needs to know he's not alone. Help us bring back his smile. Give him hope to grow and strength to fight. And together we can help him win. Support the Children's Cancer Foundation.
From the head chef of a fancy restaurant to the good man who's left behind all material possessions, who must live in a cave for the rest of his life. He never regrets his decision to become a sadhu, and the discovery of leech therapy. Not even Demi Moore can resist its so-called magic. Documentary World, Culture X, Saturday night at 10.
This is the proving ground of motorsport. Experience Asia's most legendary race. This November, officially sponsored by SJM, this is the 59th Macau Grand Prix.
Local shares lost 0.8% today on fears of a U.S. fiscal cliff and worries about Europe's economic outlook. The Hang Seng Index closed 182 points down at 21,384. Turnover was $57 billion. Better than expected mainland economic data for last month, showing a mild rebound in the world's second-largest economy, helped limit losses. Let's take a look at markets overseas now, starting in the U.S. The Dow Jones is up by 10.5 points at 12,821. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is down 13 points at 5,762. The Frankfurt DAX down by 53 points at 7,151. And in Paris, the CAC is trading nearly 13 points up at 3,420. US dollar cross rates now, 127 to the euro, 159 to the British pound, and 79 Japanese yen to the greenback. That's the news for now. Thanks for watching ATV. I'm Heyling Chan. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Coming up, racing to win.
First TV show ever to bring you Hong Kong's real nightlife. With exclusive interviews of the hottest DJs in the world. And amazingly more. Magnum Music Station. Every Thursday night at 12:50 a.m.
Righto, welcome along everyone to our preview of the racing for the card tomorrow at Sha Tin, being one of the very rare Saturdays, Brett. I don't think we've got another one now until just before Christmas.
Yes, that is the case, but it's a good day of racing. I actually think there might be a few at a price to find on Saturday, and of course we've got the simulcast as well of the two races from Australia coming through.
Yeah, Joe McKinnon will file separate reports on the Patinack Classic and also the Emirates Stakes as well. But locally, Clint, we've got the Panasonic Cup and the return tomorrow of Real Specialist.
Yeah, good to see him back. I don't think there's a great deal of depth to the race. We didn't interview Casper Fownes regarding fair trade, but I know that just talking to him off air that he's really looking forward to the horse coming back tomorrow. He's been a horse plagued with problems throughout his career. It'd be a good training effort if he can manage to land that race, and I think he's got his fingers crossed that he can do so.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to hearing from all the players as the program develops tonight. There's no scratchings to report, so we'll pretty much get into our preview now and kick it off with the first Class 5, where my memory resumes from a break.
Yes, we all sort of liked him on his seasonal reappearance. I'm not going to show any work from him. Dars Auto will be one we'll look at. Just his 6th career start, first up this prep. And I think some of his track work's been quite good. He might be carrying a little bit of condition. He still looks a little soft, for one of Dennis Yips, that is. But awkwardly drawn to Morris, some of his work's been good. Now, Fun and Fast's last 2 gallops have been very good. He's picked up. Ty England worked him here over 800. He sat off class from the work. Wasn't really pressed to do too much. But I thought the work was quite stylish. He's not pulling as hard as he normally does. And yeah, I thought, you know, like I said, his last 2 gallops have really caught the eye, and he should be a little fitter now with a couple of runs under the belt. So he could be an interesting runner in this race.
Yeah, Class 5 to kick off the program on Panasonic Day, and we're going to start with a horse that took 29 runs to break that maiden status. There's been plenty of horses here in Hong Kong that have taken a lot of starts to break the maiden status, and when they have, they've gone on with it. Karga Spirit, who races later on the day, is a perfect example, so perhaps Just Good might be able to do it again. Viva Dolphin has been in good form.
I have to say, Just Good's victory this night was pretty impressive. The leader at Big Start and gunned him down, and he had been knocking on the door for a while. It looks as though Just Good may have genuinely improved a little bit in the last few months.
Yeah, I think so. Let's look at Linked Win now.